Today I want to have a look at Options Media Group, my latest idea, which I think is going to be a huge winner sometime between now and the end of the year. On the technical side, there's a lot you can learn by simply observing what happened with this stock in the past week. And I hope everybody learns the lessons that this chart can teach us. So if you'll recall, it was a week ago Thursday when I first put out my first piece of information on the stock, my first coverage. The stock was trading at 50 cents at the time. It was right here, and as you can see, the stock traded nicely. We're at 50 cents right here. The next day we're up to 60 cents. The stock trades some volume for the first time in a long time. It traded about 100,000 shares this particular day. Monday of the following week, the stock really starts to trade well. As you can see, this is a big volume day. It trades 608,000 shares. And we're already upwards of 75 cents at the high on Monday. So if you were nimble, you could have scalped a trade from somewhere around the 55 cent level to 75 cents just in 2 or 3 days in this particular stock. Now, as you can see, on the next day, the volume quiets down a bit, the stock comes back down a little bit, but this is the day that I want people to really have a hard look at. You'll notice that the volume was absolutely huge on Tuesday. The stock traded upwards of 1 million shares that day. But as you can see, in this huge volume day, the stock made no further upside move on the price. What this tells you when you think about it is that there were sellers matching buyers, and that the buyers would become exhausted because there was a fairly large amount of stock for sale. And what you want to look for here is a large volume day, but when there's no further upside appreciation on the price on these huge volume days, you can expect the stock to correct. So here the next day on much lighter volume, around just a little over 400,000 shares, almost 500,000 shares, we have a big down day, which was to be expected for 2 reasons. One is perhaps the sellers weren't exhausted right here, and secondly, the buyers who were maybe looking for a quick trade were disappointed and the stock came back right back down. So now we get to today, which is Friday, and you'll be reading this over the weekend. And as you can see, the stock is a bit sideways right now on much lighter volume. So that tells me that probably the sellers are exhausted, combined with the fact that the buyers who wanted to flip out real quickly have come back out. And now we're a little bit under 50 cents, so if you were in early on my recommendation, there's no great loss here. We're down a few cents. And probably the stock is now positioned to trade better on its next big volume surge. However, this is the day I want people to be aware of, the day when it traded huge volume and made no further upside progress on the price. If you're in it for the short term, you had to sell on that day. If you're in it longer term, no big deal. This is a company that came out of nowhere and is doing about $1 million a month in revenues right now. And I believe that by the year's end, they could be doing $5 million a month in revenues. And I also believe people can make a lot of money on this stock with a little patience. Now is the time, while it's quiet and it pulled back a bit, to accumulate.